Hey guys and girls, welcome to this Jarvee for Instagram tutorial. My name is Aaron and today I'm going to show you how to set up Jarvee for your Instagram profile from a beginner's perspective. So that means we're just going to walk through step by step on actually, getting you comfortable with Jarvee, the interface, changing the layout just a little bit to make your life easier, as well as also putting in the best settings for your Instagram account to keep it safe, and also gaining targeted and engaged followers, so people who are going to like and comment on your actual uploads. So with that being said, we have Jarvee installed, as you can see here. If you don't have Jarvee installed, I highly recommend heading on over to their website and getting the free trial. I've included a link just below this video in the description for that free trial if you want to follow along, which I recommend you do. Cool, so hopefully you have Jarvee installed. What we're first going to do is head on over to our dashboard, and just a few quick things to cover for a beginner. You have your summary. This is what Jarvee is actually doing, so you can actually see what it's trying to do in the background, what it's thinking. It's pretty much its brain, what actions it's doing. You can have your statistics window. There's a better way of viewing this. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. The What's New tab, these are all the updates within Jarvee, really awesome. If you need any help with Jarvee, they have a contact support tab, really cool, so you can ask questions, and just notifications. If anything's gone wrong, your account's got blocked, or you're running out of maybe things to target, it's going to be in your notifications. Sweet. Alright, let's talk about actually adding in your Instagram profile here. So what you want to do is come into the social profiles here on the sidebar, just under dashboard, social profiles. Click on add profile, and then what we're going to do is select Instagram and click add profile. Now for obviously tutorial purposes, I'm going to be just plugging in demo values here. You obviously want to enter your real information to actually follow along. So up here we can say this is your name. You can actually just name this Instagram account. So maybe if you're managing client accounts, you could be like John's Instagram account #1, or whatever you want to do, you can name this freely. So I'm just going to call this Instagram account and then tester. And then in here, this information you don't really need to worry about. You can tag the profile. So if you're managing lots of Instagram profiles, you could say this one is in a certain niche. So it could be like, you could tag it fitness or sport or swimming, anything you want. Feel free to do that. I don't really think it's necessary, so I don't bother with it. Next up, if you are using a proxy, we won't be talking about this. I have a whole proxy tutorial on this YouTube channel if you want to look at it, but this is where you can put in the IP username and password for the proxy if you're using them. And then down here, you want to put in the username and password for your actual Instagram account. So this is where you put in the username and password you'd use to log in to your Instagram account right here. Next up, after you've done that, you want to press verify account. This status should change to valid, or it may say you need to just verify this login. You'll be sent a email on your phone, or just a notification on your phone. Just log in, do that and verify the account. Also, if you click this little browse button, it will open up an actual browser for you, which is really cool. So if you do get that code, click on the browse and it's going to open up this Instagram in an actual browser for you, where you can then verify your account that way. Awesome. Next up, we just have a few things. If you want to edit your profile, of course this isn't a real profile, so there's going to be nothing in here. You can edit it this way, really simple stuff. And then just anything, I guess, that can sort of help out a little bit. We won't dive into much detail, so this is a beginner tutorial. But you have your two-factor authentication here you can set up, as well as also your email validation. They include all the information here for you. Awesome. Next thing I want to talk about, just before we get into the actual settings here, which is a really cool thing for you to actually set up, which was also related to your Instagram account, is if you come into the settings right here on the sidebar, come up to email notifications. You can actually enable email notifications, and it will send you an email if your account gets blocked, or you have to confirm your email, or there's an action required. Pretty much if anything goes wrong, you're going to get an email sent from Jarvee to that email letting you know, which is really awesome. So I highly recommend coming in here, enabling this, and choosing what you want to be enabled or not enabled. Sweet. So we have our Instagram profile set up, which is awesome. We've got our settings done, and now what we're going to do is jump into the actual tools tab and start plugging in the best settings here. I'm sure this is what you're here for, so let's get into it. First things first, you may be saying, you know, my columns up here look a little bit different to yours, and yes, they do, because I've actually changed them up a little bit here. So the way to actually change these, just to make them a little bit more friendly, a little bit cleaner on your eyes, I really highly recommend you do this, is come down to Manage Columns here in the bottom left. Hopefully you can see my mouse sort of going crazy and spinning around. Come down to Manage Columns. I'm just going to bring this up a little bit bigger for you so you can potentially pause this video and, you know, set and copy and paste what I've done here. But pretty much what I've done is just turned off anything that isn't really necessary for Instagram automation. So for example, joiner, we don't need this, we don't need unjoiner, we don't want to follow people back. You know, we want to do like and commenting, follow, unfollow. We want to see our actions. We're not retweeting or pinning or blogging because this is for Instagram. So yeah, you can come through here, copy my settings, and also take into note I've increased the actual widths on some of these just to make them a lot easier to read. You know, this is just going to make your life so much easier. I recommend you pause this video right now. I'll bring this into the center of the screen, copy and paste these columns in there for you. Otherwise, once you've done that, what we're going to do is click on More Tools. So your account should be in here. We're going to click More Tools, and then this is going to open up the actual Tools section for you. And just in case you didn't see that, I'm just going to jump back. More Tools is right here under Actions. So right here, click More Tools, and it's going to open this up for you. Cool. Next thing you're going to notice is, you know, you may actually have two rows up here as well. So we're just going to quickly manage the columns once again really quickly. Once you've done it once, you don't have to worry about it again. It's a bit of a like, I don't want to do this, but trust me, I recommend you do it. To do this, you know, to get yours looking like mine, you want to come into Manage Tabs right here. So you'll see Instagram, your account, and then Manage Tabs. Hopefully you can see my mouse once again going around it. I'm going to click Manage Tabs. Please feel free to pause the video. I'll quickly run through these, just the ones we do want enabled. So we want follow, unfollow, like, contact, direct messages, manage comments, delete posts, delete comments, repost, like comments. Now we won't be covering all these tools because it is a beginner lesson, and if you want to learn more about this, I recommend you just join my Instagram Masterminds course. I cover every possible tool in Jarvee with always the most up-to-date and best settings. But either way, pause the video, get these tabs in. These are the ones we're mainly going to be focusing on, which is follow, unfollow, like, and also like comments and delete comments. Sweet. So once you've done that, yours should look like mine. Everything is nice and pretty, and you know, we're flying through this tutorial right now, and things will just start slowing down a little bit because as you can see in here, we've got a lot of settings to go through. So everything is blank. I'm going to walk through and try and explain each one of these so you get the best understanding of what Jarvee is trying to do, and hopefully you're saying, yes, that sounds awesome. Cool, so we are in the follow tab. First thing we want to do is run through the actual run timers. Hope you like that little play on words there. But we're going to start changing these from the defaults into new settings. So first up is wait between. We want to change this from 45 and 90 minutes to 3 to 4 minutes. Next up, we want to change our follow between, and I'll explain these in a second what they do. Follow between 2 and 5 people per operation. And we also then want our delay to be between 38 to 48 seconds. Now these are going to be really safe settings for your Instagram account. Pretty much what we're saying is, you know, each time we're going to go follow people, go follow between 2 and 5, you know, pick a random number in that range, and then, excuse me, mine says 3, it should be 38 here. Make sure yours is 38 as well. You know, follow between, you know, that range, and then between each follow, please wait a minimum of 38 seconds to 48 seconds. And as you can see up here, we're going to roughly reach 800 follows a day with 33 follows per hour. This is really awesome because typically you can follow 50 people an hour, but for new accounts, you know, starting off automation, it's good to lower that number down a little bit. It's going to stop you running into blocks and any issues. And, you know, also it's going to just not appear like you're just spamming the platform, which you never want to do. You know, you want to make sure everyone's having a great user experience overall. Next up, execute between 12 AM and 11 PM. We just want it to run all day. We don't want to add any random sleep time. We want it to run every day of the week. And down here, we are going to jump into the follow limits. So on our first day, we want to follow between 25 and 50. I know that just hid me because I hit the wrong key, or my hidden key, but I'm back. But you want this to be between 25 and 50 per day. So what you're going to do is follow, 25 people, or a range, between 25 and 50 people on your first day. Then you want to increase this by 25 until it reaches 800 per day. So what's great within Jarvee, you don't actually have to come in here and change the settings each day. It's just going to do it automatically for you. It's going to start off with this and just nice and slowly build your account up, nothing crazy. Imagine your grandma gets on Instagram for the first time and, she's just sort of like figuring things out and just slowly gets more and more and more addicted until she's doing like 800 follows per day. And that's it. Next up, we don't want to enable automatic follow unfollow. We are going to set that up ourselves. We want to manually control this. And then down here, user filters. There's a lot of filters here you can play with. These are going to start really defining how you target people. In my Instagram Masterminds course, I definitely dive into these filters a lot more and explain like the best ones to do. But for now, I'm just going to give you my sort of rough recommendations. So first up is skip non-English users. You're more than free to not enable this if you're wanting to build up an only English speaking audience. Enable this option. While it isn't going to get this 100% correct, it will try very hard, to make sure they are speaking English. Use as a profile image, we also want to enable that. We also want to enable users posted within at least the last 90 days, and this is going to be important for the next actions we set up. We also want to make sure this user is not following this account. There's no point in following people who are already following you. Makes no sense, it's a waste of time. Do not follow private users. If you notice a lot of people in your niche are actually, private accounts, feel free to turn this off. These are obviously all optional filters on how you want to find your audience. We then want to skip business accounts. I generally don't bother with them. And then you can of course choose to only follow males or females or both males and females or all. And you can choose a language which they speak. So please feel free to choose these as you wish. Yeah, pretty much that. Next up, we want to like our users' latest posts. So we're going to talk about the after follow actions here. So we want to wait between 5 and 10 seconds before each like. Yeah, it's kind of okay. We want to bring this pretty much up to 15 to 30 seconds. Think of a humanistic approach. It is generally going to be pretty quick. If you have your phone, you need to think like a human. You follow the user. You're like, oh, cool, it's an image. Yeah, I like it. Look at the caption. Okay. Yeah, I like it. Bam. So it's going to generally take 15 to 30 seconds for someone to do that. Keep it in mind. And then what we want to do is just bring this up to 2 and then 1. Make sure these are both 1 to 1. We always want it to force a like each day. And finally, what we want to do is remove poor quality sources. And we're going to be jumping into the sources in a second. We want to do this after at least 1,000 follows. And this pretty much this will make more sense in a second after we actually set up our sources. But Jarvee, what it's going to do is going to remove any poor sources that we give. So sources are the people we're targeting to gain followers. So for example, we could start following people who have interacted on a certain user's post. If we get a ratio of follow back less than 0.1, we're going to remove them. So pretty much after following 1,000 people, if 100 of them have not followed you back, it's a bad source. Let's get rid of it. Pretty simple. Awesome. So yeah, there are pretty general typical setup on filters. You can obviously go through this and do all your own things. But for now, we are going to actually jump into the follow sources. So up here, you can see we have settings, and then we have follow sources right here. And this is how we can actually start telling Jarvee how you want to start targeting, users, actually finding people to follow. So the one I recommend, and that is my go-to, is these 2 options here. So first one is to follow followers of target accounts, which is really cool option. So of course you need to do your research here. You need to go out and find those accounts which are actually going to have your audience on. I teach you how to do this in Instagram Masterminds. If you want to learn how I actually find accounts to get like 100 plus followers a day, I teach that in that course. It's linked down in the description if you want to check it out. But pretty much you need to go out there, figure out where your demographic is on Instagram, find those accounts which you can target, and then you're going to put them in here. So first one is we want to, maybe follow the most recent 1,000 followers of an account, and then you want to type in the username of the account you're targeting. Then you could click on add account followers. it'll give you this little pop-up. That's fine. And then hopefully, if we do this correctly, it may not work because my account isn't legit right now. And yes, there we go. So followers of Instagram, it's going to be added onto this list here. So pretty much this would be targeting the most recent 1,000 people who have followed the Instagram account. Awesome. You can add in more. You don't have to just do the one. You can keep adding and adding and adding and adding. No problem there. You can also delete. And then the next option I recommend is to follow users that interacted with posts on target accounts. So this is going to be people who liked and commented on a certain account. And what we're going to do is the last 280, pretty much 2,880 minutes. I believe this is 2 days in minutes. And what we also want to do is 2,880 here. And pretty much what it's going to do is just find anyone who's liked and commented on, once again, you know, those target accounts. You could put an Instagram here, you know, just I'm thinking of account names off the top of my head, you know, just typical accounts. Keep pressing add and you're going to see them come into a list here. It's pretty simple. If you already have a list, you can copy and paste them in here as well. You can delete, blah, blah, blah. And what we can talk about now is, you know, that settings. So we've set up our follow sources. If we come back to settings and just scroll to the bottom, remove poor quality sources. So pretty much after it follows 1,000 people from each of those sources we just set up, and if it doesn't have a follow back ratio of 0.1, so you know, after following 1,000 people, 100 haven't followed you, it's going to remove them from the list. So this is a really cool way to actually start learning what is a good targeting method and what isn't. Awesome. So we have set up follow, and as you can see, that took quite some time with all the settings we have there. Of course, you can pop into the results tab and see everything going on, and also view the actual follow back ratio once things start kickstarting. And of course, to get this thing running, you need to change the status from stopped to start by just turning it on. Of course, this is a fake account, so I can't actually turn on, but just click this and it'll say that it's started. Awesome. Next up is the unfollow tab. So a lot of these settings are going to be pretty much replicated throughout other actual columns we're going to go through, or tools should I say. So things will start picking up in a little bit of pace here, which is awesome. So we're going to unfollow items, people, after 1 day after the application has followed them. So Jarvee will follow them, for example, today, and if it follows them at 4 p.m. today, and then tomorrow at 4 p.m. they're going to be added to a list of, yeah, we can unfollow them. We want to then wait between 3 and 4 minutes. We want to unfollow between 2 and 5 people per operation with a delay of 38 to 48. So we're pretty much taking the settings we had from following into our unfollowing. Really nice, really easy to do. We're going to leave all these defaults here. We're going to unfollow a maximum of 50 on our first day to 75. Because you always want to be unfollowing more people than you are following. This is going to stop you reaching Instagram's limit of following 7,500 people. There's a cap, you know, you can only follow a maximum of 7,500 people. So if we're always unfollowing more people per day, then perfect, you know, we're not going to have any issues. So we're going to increase this by 25 each day until it reaches 820. So, you know, once it hits that max limit, it's going to be always unfollowing at least 25 people more day, or 20 people, excuse me, more per day. We don't want to enable automatic follow and follow. And then what we have down here is some user filters. So once again, these are completely optional. I'll give you my recommendation. You want to unfollow all users followed by Jarvee, of course. You know, that's completely fine. If you want to also say target people who you've actually followed outside of Jarvee, so maybe on your phone you followed some people and you're like, yeah, I don't like them, they suck, you can enable this option and it's going to unfollow them for you. If you don't want to unfollow anyone, no need to enable it. All these are kind of okay. One thing I do like to enable is do not unfollow commenters on any of your last 12 posts. Keep the people who are like really awesome around. This isn't going to affect your following to follower ratio too much, because instead of unfollowing someone that did comment on the last 12 posts, it's just going to find someone who didn't and unfollow them instead, which is awesome. So this is really good if you want to have a very like highly engaged following at all times. Comments are the most valuable thing, which is great. Obviously likers, you get a lot of likes. So it's a bit of a 50-50 if you want to enable it or not. Please feel free to try it out. And finally, other options like, well, unfollowing, we are not going to enable this. We don't want to be overlapping any actions or causing any issues like blocks or anything. So yeah, this is great. Once you're done, you can enable the status to on. Next up, liking. What we're going to do here is set up liking in a way that engages with your current followers. You're pretty much going to be rewarding people for actually engaging with your content. Sounds pretty complicated, but it's actually really simple and easy to set up. So let's do it. Wait between 3 and 4 minutes. We're going to like between 2 and 5, excuse me, not 4, 5 images per post with a delay of 38, and it's not going to do it correctly, 38 to 48 seconds. As you can see, pretty much your runtime is always going to be replicated across each tool. Leave all this as default. We're going to like a maximum of 25 to 50 on your first day, increasing by 25 until it reaches 400 per day. So we're not going to be going up to 800 on this one. We just want to do a maximum likes of 400 per day. And what you need to do is keep in mind here that in our unfollow tab, we've set up our after follow actions to like the user's latest posts. And we're doing 1 for 1. So on every person you follow, you're going to be liking their most recent image. And if you remember earlier in the tutorial, I said we set up this user's posted within the last X amount of days. This is ensuring that they have actually uploaded a picture for you to like. So, you know, with this enabled, you are basically guaranteeing once you reach this max limit, you're going to be doing 800 likes per day just off this one. Luckily, the way we're setting up liking here, you generally won't be doing 400 just likes through this module. Because of how we're going to be targeting it, you're only going to be doing follows and stuff. So you're never going to be going like crazy high like numbers, which will keep your account safe. Awesome. So yeah, increase by 25 until it reaches 400 per day. We want to like the user's most recent posts. You can do the free. Most recent is great. That is fine. Limit a maximum number of likes per user, just 1. And this is obviously where you can change this down to 1 as well. Options in here, of course, completely optional. There's not really too much to enable here because you're going to just be targeting people who are actually following you or engaging with your content. More or less, I would say this is much more important down here, is that the post filters. So what you want to do is post it within the last, excuse me, no, you don't want to enable that, my bad. You want to make sure that you choose a random post from the most recent user's posts, and this is where this one number will affect this area. So it's going to look at the top 3 and just pick a random one. Gives you a bit more variation. And also we want to filter the post by number of likes. We want to make sure that they're just sort of under 500 likes, because if you're giving a like to something with a ton of likes, it's generally not even seen by the person. They don't really care too much. Awesome. Finally, we're not going to enable any of this. We don't need to remove poor quality sources here, because what we're going to do in the sources right now is target your followers and also people who've engaged on your content. So let's click on the sources up here in the top. And what we're going to do is like posts of our followers. As you can see, we've enabled that, no options underneath, pretty simple. We're going to like our latest feed post, and what we're going to do is make this selection rank number 9. So the way selection ranks work in Jarvee is basically it's going to find posts of followers first because it's ranked number 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. So if it runs out of anything here, if it can't find, you know, any posts of followers, then it's going to try and find your latest feed posts. And also we want to like posts of users that interacted with posts on target accounts as number 8. So we're going to make sure selection rank is 8. We're going to do 2880 in these 2 boxes again. So like users who posted or commented in the last 288 minutes. And, you know, scrape only posts in the last 288 minutes. And then what you want to do is add in your username here. So add in your username of your Instagram account, because then what Jarvee's going to do is find anyone who's commented or liked on your actual posts and then go and like one of their most recent posts, which is awesome. You're pretty much rewarding people for engaging on your content, which people really appreciate. It's going to give that feedback loop of constant engagement. You know, that's the most important thing to have on Instagram. Yes, having followers is great, but having a really high engagement rate, lots of likes and comments, is even better. So that just reinforces. So make sure to add in your Instagram username there. Awesome. That is all set up. You now have settings for liking ready to go. So what you can do is come to the status and turn that on. Next up, we're going to be avoiding these. If you want to learn all about this stuff, once again, Instagram Masterminds linked down below. I talk about all this. What we are going to do is come into our like comments. This will be the last module that we're going to talk about here from a beginner perspective. And what this is great for is, of course, making sure that you're actually, liking people who leave comments on your stuff. You're once again reinforcing that positivity of, hey, thank you for liking my content. I'm appreciating that, just saying, hey, thanks. So let's get into it. Wait between 3 and 4 minutes, of course. We will just leave the like between 1 and 2 comments here because you're not probably going to be getting like a crazy amount of comments, and, liking between 1 and 2 is fine. It's still going to make sure you reach that daily limit. We're going to, of course, make our delay between 38 and 48 here, so 38 to 48 seconds. Execute, leave that default, no sleep time, execute on all days. Like limit, we are just going to leave this at default. Pretty much, we're just going to bring this down to 25 to 100 per day. It's just going to give it a little bit of a bigger range. I don't like leaving everything default, so pretty much you're saying, unless you're getting more than 100 comments per day, please feel free to increase this to how many comments you get per day. If you're getting more than 100 per day, good job, really good Instagram account. But generally this is going to, of course, cover that range. Next up, we are going to skip non-English comments, because if you don't understand every language, or if your Instagram account is English-based, it's pretty weird to maybe start liking, like Hebrew-based comments or like Spanish comments if you don't know Spanish, So optional, of course, it's as you choose or please to use it. We don't want to like our own post comments. And of course, you do not want to like if a comment contains any specific words. So in here, you could start typing in rude words, anything nasty, swear words, all that stuff, because it is going to be very awkward if you start liking content or people's comments that just like hate speech against you. So you can find these lists online, or if you join my course, even my free one, I do have a list which you can download, and you know what, I'll just include that list actually in the description for you right now, so you can copy and paste my blacklist is what it's called. It's all my like nasty words I use. You can copy and paste that in here, for you. So yeah, I'll include that link down below in the description for you so you can grab it. And then after like actions, we don't want to do anything here. We don't want to reply to a comment or anything. So make sure to put in the nasty words here. It will look just like a huge list. Once again, just download mine, copy and paste it in. You'll be great. And then what we want to do is come into our sources. So we've been in our settings. We want to come into our sources here. And we want to like our own post comments. And it's as simple as that. That's all we had to enable there. Really good, right? So yeah, what we've done right now is we've set up a ton of actual settings here. And, just as a little bonus now that I'm thinking about it, because, just talking about this, do not like if, I really want to just cover quickly delete comments, because if anyone does actually leave any nasty, say, hate speech on your account, let's just make sure that is completely cleaned up for you. I wasn't really planning on doing this, but let's just do it anyway. I'm feeling in the mood for it. So we're going to wait between 3 and 4 minutes. Of course, we're going to delete between 1 and say like 2. I would say comments per operation is perfect. We want a delay of 48 and 38. And next up, we want to leave all these default. We're going to delete a maximum of 0 per day. This is just no limit, because obviously if someone just keeps spamming you with hate comments, you just want to make sure they are all removed. So it's just leaving it at default 0, which is perfect. Scrape comments from the most recent 18 posts. Generally you don't need to leave this so high, so we can just leave it default for now. But it's pretty much just going to look back at your last 18 posts and make sure there is none of those comments on there. Cool. So we don't want to obviously delete our own comments, and then what we want to do is delete comments that contain any of the following words. Once again, like I just said, I've included that blacklist in the description for you. Go and download it, access it, copy and paste. It's literally just a notepad file of just like a ton of words, some you would never even think exist. But yeah, copy and paste those in here. And then what it's going to do is make sure to actually delete, all those comments. And then of course, what we want to also ensure after delete actions, we want to block that user if after his comment is deleted. And of course, if you have other Instagram accounts running in Jarvee, you can block that user on all accounts as well. So say you run like 5 Instagram accounts, those other 4 will also block that user to ensure that they never, randomly target those accounts as well. So yeah, pretty simple. Of course, you want to actually delete comments that also have any usernames with nasty words in there as well. So like, once again, blacklist download, just copy and paste it in there. You get the idea, you know what I'm talking about. And that, pretty simple. You can just enable that. It's not too crazy to think about. And that is it. What we've done right now is actually set up our tools to run. So let's just talk about, you've got everything set up. What can you actually do now? How can you see what's going on? What are the actual statistics? How well is this thing working for you? So first thing you can do is come into your tools, and you can hover over these little eye icons. So it's the little eye information bit, and it will say today in total. This may be really hard to read on my screen because it's obviously small, but it says today, and then it's going to tell you a number of how many it's actually done. So for liking, it will say, on the first day, hopefully it's going to be in that range of 25 to 50. Well, it will be. And then the total is actually from the first day you start automating this account, how many it's just done in total. So you can hover over these, see each one, which is really cool. Next up, you can come into actual social profiles. Yours will be obviously valid and a real account. You can click the little tick box here. And then down here where it says execute actions on selected profiles, see my mouse just sort of pointing here down at the bottom. You want to come here, open up this list, and then view statistics for the selected social profiles here at the bottom of the list. So once again, we tick boxed it, we went down, and then what we can do is actually just see a huge list of pretty much everything that is going on. And you can export this, you can see from certain dates, which is awesome, the account, the date. And pretty much you're going to have a column here that says follower gain. So this is how many follows you gain from each day, which is great. You'll see how many follows you've done, how many unfollows you've done. Of course, if you scroll through here, how many likes you've done, if you've blocked any people, liked how many comments, all that stuff, all the information is in here. And this is a much easier way to look at your statistics than in the dashboard and statistics where it's this weird graph. I honestly stay away from this thing like the plague. It's just annoying, it's a pain in the ass. So yeah, that is it. And then pretty much you can come in your summary, you can show the status info for accounts down here, so you could choose your specific account. And once you press start, you'll start seeing everything running nice and smoothly. And then yes, you just leave your computer on, it will run in the background, it will do everything for you. Make sure to not turn your computer off, because of course it needs to be on for this to run. Okay, just to close off this video, I know it's been a long one, thank you so much for sticking around. This one's going to be awesome. I have a website, as you can see here, wearing the t-shirt somewhere. Social Dasher. You can come on here, find a ton of social media marketing strategies and automation tips. I have a list of tools I highly recommend. We have a blog as well, which tells you actually how to set up Jarvee, and we'll have different categories coming out as well soon. And we have an Instagram marketing guide, proxy tutorial, follow like versus Jarvee. There's just going to be a ton more content coming out here, and of course you can actually access free courses as well, which leads me on to Instagram Masterminds. You have heard me talk about this throughout this actual, tutorial. And Instagram Masterminds is my #1 course. It's my #1 selling course at the moment, and pretty much what it is everything you need to know about Instagram marketing, which is always up to date for the actual Instagram algorithm and platform, as well as any automation techniques going on. So right now it currently covers Jarvee, so you'll be able to jump inside, see all my strategies, which are just actually algorithm friendly tips and actual strategies you can do without automation. And then there is a whole module on actually setting up Jarvee, using it to its best abilities, as well as also actually always having the most up-to-date settings, because of course this video right now, it could be a little bit out of dated. Maybe you found it a few months after it's been published. This course always ensures that everything is up to date for you. So please feel free to come along here. You can obviously watch this video, which you'll learn all about the actual course itself, all the information, the reviews, what you can expect, the actual outcome you're going to have from this. And I've included a link down below, of course, to actually end up on this page so you can check everything out. Thank you so much otherwise for being here. I really appreciate everything. I respect, all you guys. I love the fan base that's around. So if you're not actually subscribed to this channel, please feel free to subscribe, hit like on this video. Otherwise, any questions, just leave them down below in the comments. I'm always about to help. And other than that, have an awesome day, and I hope to see you around soon.